My husband, 44 male, and I, 38 female, live in New York City with our 8-year-old daughter, and have a live-in nanny because we're both doctors and unpredictable crazy hours. My sister, 33 female, Anne, and her husband, 32 male, Sam, also live in New York City, 30-ish minutes from us with their 2 kids, 4 and 5. Sam is originally from India and only came to the U.S. for his master's before getting a job and marrying my sister. Last December, my sister told me she and her husband were struggling to afford childcare, especially extended winter break hours, for her 2 kids, and asked if my nanny could also watch her kids too. I talked it over with my husband and we agreed. I asked my nanny if she was willing to and offered her a $27K a year, about 30%, raise to take care of 2 more kids. She agreed, and for the past 7 months has been taking care of them 3 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. Weeks ago, I brought up to my sister if she could find temporary childcare for her kids, because my daughter is going to sleepaway camp for a month, and I wanted to give my nanny the time off. She begged me not to, since daycares in New York City all have long wait lists, and a babysitter, 40 hours a week for a month, would be $4K. I got concerned she couldn't even pay for a month of babysitting for her own kids, since I knew my sister's salary was $70K a year, and brother-in-law is a software engineer with a higher salary. I asked after her finances, and she very reluctantly told me Sam had been giving almost half their income to his family in India, and was spending thousands to sponsor his siblings' immigration process. I was furious at this, and told them not only was I giving my nanny the vacation time, I was no longer willing to provide free childcare. This started a huge argument between Sam and I. I very harshly condemned him for putting his extended family above his own children. He didn't take it very well, and said his parents sacrificed to send him to school in the U.S., and he is doing the right thing by paying them back. My sister was happy I stood up for her. She privately admitted she hadn't wanted to send that much money, at first, but since then has been asking me to take her kids back because she and Sam are now constantly arguing over this. I told her that I wasn't going to enable Sam's actions any longer, and had I known I was paying $27K more so Sam could send money to his family, I never would have agreed to it in the first place. My husband agrees with me, but has said maybe I should relent so my sister could have a happier marriage. Sam is calling me an a-hole for his family suffering the loss of his money when it doesn't affect me much. Some of my friends who also know them think I'm wrong for making my sister and her kids' life harder, especially since I will keep paying my nanny her new salary. Edit. To be clear, my dilemma is because my sister loves her husband and doesn't want to divorce him. So I could either try to talk her into leaving him, which would make her miserable, or just give them money to smooth this problem over, which I feel would open me up to brother-in-law asking me for more and more money one way or the other. Because, in his words, we're family and we help each other when we have more. Which is true, that I could easily pay for his kids to have a more comfortable life than when they're not with me. Also, we pay a lot of taxes here in New York City, especially if you make 6 figures. Plus, their mortgage for a 2-bedroom apartment is $4K a month, and that's not counting all the other costs of living. I didn't mean to say brother-in-law was sending $100K to his family. I mean, he was sending something like $2K a month, half of their income minus their expenses, to family, and using money saved from paying a babysitter to pay for an immigration attorney, etc. My sister knew he wanted to help his family come here, and I think she knew it in the I want to be close to my family sense, and not the I would prioritize helping them move here above our kids sense, and now she's in too deep. Not the a-hole. You were sending $27,000 a year to brother-in-law's family. Not the a-hole. In essence, you were funding his family in India by freeing up his money, and that's really ridiculous. Don't let them pressure you into doing this. Your sister needs to reevaluate her marriage. This, while it might be sweet to see a child supporting their parents as a part of their culture and out of love, but to expect others to do it and to manipulate them like OP's brother-in-law. Sam is calling me an a-hole for his family suffering the loss of his money when it doesn't affect me much. No, that's not culture. That's manipulation. It doesn't matter what is OP's income and if she is monetarily affected or not. Her brother-in-law is neglecting his wife and kids and using OP. What happens when his family immigrate? Will brother-in-law host all of them in his house? Your sister needs to really have a detailed conversation with him. Not the a-hole, and good job on not lowering your nanny's pay. Not the a-hole. If you consider the exchange rate between the US and India, Sam could send his parents $1,000 a month, still afford childcare, and they could live very well on that amount in India. Half their income is ridiculous. I don't care how much they sacrificed. This happened recently. Everyone is torn over it, and I don't know how to feel. Around February, my nephew, AJ, 17 male, called me asking to be picked up and explained his parents were kicking him out over a disagreement. I took him to my home and spoke with my brother and sister-in-law later. I learned AJ had been untruthful about the argument. His parents told him that if he wanted them to continue paying his phone and car bills, then he had to do his chores. AJ had chosen to leave. We talked together and decided that perhaps some distance would be good. My wife and I had done our best to be understanding while also keeping up boundaries. We tried getting AJ to see a therapist and had him try several. He insisted that he didn't like any of the therapists and that therapy was a waste of time. Before he moved in, AJ always was a polite, decent kid towards us. As soon as he moved in, AJ was starting problems. AJ would refuse to do chores and was frequently caught stealing from us. He also has a horrendous attitude. Referring to us using curse words was typical. Just having absolutely no respect for any of us. An example was how my daughter, Tina, 11 female, and I had gone shopping. AJ insisted on staying home. We found out AJ had locked Tina's emotional support dog, Gracie, in the backyard for hours because he thought Gracie was annoying. It was a miracle that Gracie didn't overheat. It was almost 100 degrees and she had no water. We yelled at him for the first time, and he seemed shocked and seemed like he had finally taken us seriously. The final straw happened last Wednesday. Tina, my wife, and I were at the community pool. AJ wanted to stay home. He's never liked swimming, so this wasn't odd. We got a barking alert from our Furbo camera. We have it enabled as Gracie rarely barks. We checked, and Gracie was insistently barking at seemingly nothing. I texted AJ to ask if he knew why Gracie was barking. AJ responded that he didn't know and was making a snack for himself in the kitchen. But the Furbo has a clear view of the kitchen, and AJ was nowhere in sight. My wife and I were suspicious and decided to head home early. We arrived home just a minute before AJ did. He pulled up in my wife's car, which now has a massive dent on the passenger door. AJ is unlicensed. AJ told us how the dent happened in a drive-thru and told us to just replace it. I asked my wife to take Tina on a walk. I waited until they were a block away and honestly lost it with AJ. I called him a selfish jerk. We opened our home to him and he just doesn't give a crap about anything but himself. I made AJ pack his bags and dropped him off with sister-in-law's parents. Father-in-law is a retired cop and mother-in-law is a retired school teacher. They are honestly the best people to handle AJ right now. Others are calling me an a-hole uncle, that I've given AJ abandonment issues and throwing him away the second he screws up. I love my nephew, but we can't deal with his behavior. Am I the a-hole for kicking AJ out? Not the a-hole. Your nephew is old enough to know better. He has been nothing but disrespectful, and even put his cousin's emotional support animal at risk. He needs real consequences for his crappy actions. Not the a-hole. Abandonment issues are not self-imposed. He chose to act out, be disrespectful, lie, steal, and who knows what else. You didn't kick him out the second he screwed up. He took a huge leap of the boundaries of common decency into criminal activity and animal cruelty. He isn't being abandoned. He's learning that he can't crap on people. Not the a-hole. Sadly, not many people are taught manners and how to respect others and their property. It is almost absurd that anyone would refer to you as an a-hole when you let him into your home with open arms, and he treated you guys like this. AJ doesn't need a therapist. His parents need to take some damn control, in my opinion. I, 21 female, know I don't want children in the future. I'm just not a big fan of little kids, so even if I change my mind, I'd rather adopt or foster an older kid that needs a good home. My family knows this, but has always taken the "you'll change your mind when you're older" tact, and it's just not worth debating. That being said, if I'm not going to use my eggs, someone else might as well, so I looked into egg donation. There's a very good clinic for it nearby. It helps out infertile people, and I get some extra money to pad my savings for after college, so everyone wins. I've been selected as a donor twice so far, and I got notified that the first pregnancy completed successfully a couple of weeks ago. The couple sent me a thank you card and chocolates anonymously through the clinic, which was nice of them. I'm currently doing the prep for round 2 of egg harvesting, so I have to give myself shots daily. I went home for the weekend for my grandmother's birthday, and my sister, 26 female, noticed the package of syringes in my bag and asked about them. I told her I was doing egg donation and their hormones, and she flipped out. She told my parents and other siblings, and it's turned into this giant family argument. My parents are on the "why would you basically give away your grandkids to strangers" kick. My sister thinks it's really hypocritical that I'm going to have biological kids when I don't even want kids. And my sister-in-law started crying because they're struggling to get pregnant, which I didn't actually know. And this is all really triggering for her. A lot of my family is religious and against IVF on those grounds. So I got a talking to from a couple of aunts about enabling people to play God and a bunch of crap like that. My brother is supportive, but even he's weird about having nieces and nephews out there in the world that he'll never know. I did tell him that if he and sister-in-law end up needing eggs, I would be happy to donate to them as well, which made them feel some better. But a lot of the family is still really weirded out and thinks I shouldn't be doing it. It's not like I'm going to have 100 random bio babies out there. The limit of donation rounds is 6, and that doesn't guarantee successful pregnancies. Also, it wasn't like I was going to have grandkids for anyone anyway. I told some friends who said basically it's my choice, but it is weird that I don't want kids and still am kind of having kids in a roundabout way. And I should have told my family first. Post-edit, since some people have commented. Obviously, they would not be using my egg and my brother's sperm. My brother says it's looking like both he and sister-in-law are infertile to some degree. So if they can't resolve it with IVF, they could probably have me and one of her brothers be donors. Less expensive than anonymous donors, and they would still basically have a bio kid once removed. Not the a-hole. It's your body. You can do anything you want. You don't have to tell your family anything. Also, my family knows this, but has always taken the "you'll change your mind when you're older" tact. Duck that. Kids are terrible. Wife and I are in our early 40s, married 10 years, no kids, never will. My parents told me for years, we'll have kids and change our minds someday. Mom still makes little comments here and there. They're wrong. Not the a-hole. It 100% is your choice. And your brother doesn't have nieces and nephews out there. The eggs were donated. The relationship to your extended family ended there. My wife and I feel like we are terrible people. We recently purchased a new house, our dream house, and we are excited to spend our first Christmas in it. We have 2 daughters, 1-year-old and 9-year-old. Their grandma and grandpa are going to drive across the country to spend Christmas with us, around 12 days at our house. Everyone was excited about it, especially our 9-year-old. However, we were told a few days ago that they planned on bringing one of their other grandchildren with them. The mother of this grandchild is my wife's stepsister. The kid is the stepsister's 7-year-old girl. My wife and her stepsister are not close at all, and we do not agree with how she is raising her children. She has 2 girls and 1 boy, with 2 different fathers, neither of which she is currently with, all under age of 7. She is just a terrible person in our opinion. I won't get into a lot of why we think so, but it is how we feel. So, needless to say, we were not thrilled when my wife's mother said she would be bringing one of her other grandchildren with her. First, my wife and I don't understand why the mom would want to split her kids up for Christmas. Second, I've never met this kid, and I know my wife and I will end up having to take a large role in making sure she's taken care of for the 12 days. And third, we do not even talk to the mom or have a close relationship with her. Yet we will now be forced to interact with her because her child will be at our house for Christmas. Also, we were never even consulted or asked if the kid could come. Needless to say, we expressed this to my wife's mom, and she blew up on us. She said we are terrible people for not wanting a child to come to Christmas, and she never knew we felt this way about the child. She says she won't come now unless the kid can come, and the kid has no other option for Christmas because the mom made plans that didn't include her. Apparently, the father was supposed to fly out for Christmas, but he canceled. From what I've seen, all of the mother's kids are constantly pawned off to all sorts of people, and everyone enables it. Mostly the grandma. The mother of the child recently met a new guy, and they are very close. She will be spending Christmas with him, his child, and her other 2 children. I don't see why they wouldn't just have their whole family together. I would never send one of my daughters away during Christmas. I'm only here at our new house for 3 weeks, before I have to travel back to another state for 3 months, prior to deploying for another 6 months. I wanted to enjoy my 3 weeks of leave and Christmas with my immediate family. I'm just really annoyed we were not even asked or consulted about this. Yet we feel terrible. And my wife's mother is making us out to be monsters because we are upset that she planned to bring another kid to our house for Christmas. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. The minute someone decides they're inviting someone somewhere without consulting the host, they become the a-hole. You are right to be upset that you were being told that a child would be coming without your input or knowledge. I feel for that little girl, but you are well within your rights to not feel comfortable, especially when that child belongs to someone you dislike or don't get along with. Not the child's fault, but you don't want a kid there when you can't stand their parents. That equals drama every time. Not the a-hole. OP, I know Grandma was wrong for not consulting you, but it seems like she's trying to give this little girl a nice Christmas with a loving family. Honestly, the girl's situation is beyond tragic. I also know it's not your responsibility to handle your stepsister's mess. But don't think of it as enabling the stepsister. That ship has sailed. Think of it as extending holiday kindness to grandma and an unwanted little girl who's old enough to know her heart is broken, but not old enough to understand why her family doesn't want her.